So you've decided you want to learn how to knit, but you don't even know where to begin. It can be completely overwhelming searching around on the internet looking for the perfect video, class, or course to help you get started. I recently published another video featuring 25 crochet projects for the absolute beginner, and I got so many comments from people asking if I would create the exact same video but for knitting. So today I am featuring 12 different knitting projects for those of you who have never picked up knitting needles before but you want to learn. I've only included projects that have video tutorials, and I've left links for them all in the description box below. And if you're unsure whether you should start with crocheting or knitting, I have a video where I go into depth about each one of the crafts, and yes, they are different. And this will help you to decide which one is best for you. But let's get started. Davina from Sheep and Stitch is one of my favorite knitting teachers on YouTube. She has such a calming personality, and she makes you feel like that you can learn how to knit and it's not that hard. I've included her video, How to Knit a Scarf for Beginners Step by Step, because it really does help true beginners, somebody who has never picked up knitting needles before, learn all the fundamentals to be able to knit a scarf. But one little trick that can be really helpful for beginners is to change the playback speed of YouTube videos. You can go to the little gear icon at the bottom of the video and click it. You'll find a tab called playback speed, and go ahead and click it, and you're going to see a lot of different options. Whether you need to go faster or slower, you can customize the speed so that it is perfect for you. Another great project for beginners is a hat. How to Knit a Hat for Complete Beginners is a video by Brittany from Be Hooked, who is a very well-known crochet educator, but you might not know that she's also a fantastic knitter. Brittany is well known for her very professional step-by-step tutorials, and you're gonna walk away with a gorgeous, cozy knitted hat. We're staying with the hat theme, and this next video is step-by-step knitting tutorial ribbed beanie. This tutorial is from Knitting House Square, and you're going to learn the fundamentals of knitting, and you're also going to come away with a gorgeous ribbed beanie. The instructions are slow, and you're going to be so surprised at how quickly you're going to be able to start getting those knitting needles clicking away. The one thing I love most about knitting and crocheting is that there's always something new to learn, and that's why I love partnering with Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. There are thousands of amazing creative classes in areas like knitting, crocheting, and sewing, just to name a few. I love that Skillshare classes are taught by industry professionals. They're all online, so you can learn from the comforts of your own home, and they're all ad-free. Once you've got the basics down, you may want to take your newly acquired knitting skills to the next level, and I have the perfect resource for you. Skillshare now has learning paths that will take you through a series of classes that is going to help you to expand your knitting knowledge. Take Your Knitting to the Next Level contains 3 curated classes taught by Brandy Cheyenne Harper. You'll start with Knit Your Own Chunky Cropped Sweater. Next, you'll take Perfect Fit Knits. And you'll finally finish the learning path with the class Edgy Stitch Kit. Skillshare also has dozens of other knitting classes, so the learning doesn't have to end there. And what's even better is that the first 500 people to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you're looking for something super simple to start with, a dishcloth is a great choice. It's practical and simple enough for a total beginner. I was looking in the comments of this video from Knits and Bits, and so many knitting newbies said that this was their first project and they were able to make this dishcloth with no problems. And a great thing about dishcloths is that if it doesn't turn out perfect, who cares? It's just a dishcloth. It doesn't really matter. You're going to learn a lot of the basics with this project, and I think it's great for total beginners. If you're ready to dive into a project that's going to take a little bit longer to finish, I have the perfect project for you. This is another tutorial from Brittany from Be Hooked, and it's the How to Knit a Baby Blanket for Complete Beginners. And what I love about a project like this is that you're going to get so much practice. By the end of the blanket, you're gonna know exactly what to do. You're going to have your fundamentals down, and you'll also have a gorgeous baby blanket at the end. We're staying with the blanket theme again, and this is for those of you who would like to knit a full-size blanket. You're going big or you're going home, and you want to knit a full-size blanket. The Arctic Throw by Sew Homey is a sophisticated first project that is totally beginner-friendly, but it definitely doesn't look like it. This is a comprehensive video that is going to teach you the fundamentals like casting on, how to knit, how to purl, and even how to weave in your ends. The next project is the Twisted Knit Headband for Beginners by Marley Bird. This is a great project if you want something quick and practical to start learning how to knit. And Marley Bird is one of the best crochet and knitting teachers here on YouTube. She is a total pro, and you're going to be so surprised that you can knit a headband as a complete beginner. The quick and easy fingerless gloves are another great way to learn how to knit. This is another tutorial from Knitting House Square, and she's going to teach you how to knit the gloves flat, and then you're going to seam them together, and she's going to show you exactly how to do it. The Beginner Cute Dishcloth by Katova Kika is one of my favorite projects, and that's because Kika is one of my favorite knitting channels on YouTube of all time. She is such a talented knitwear designer, and I love that she shares her life in Finland for all of us to enjoy, but she also designed and knit her own wedding dress. It is absolutely incredible. You have to check it out. That is a very advanced project. That is not for those of us who are beginners, but it is so inspiring, and you're just going to love Kika. I'm staying with the dishcloth theme for now, and this is Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth. This is a fantastic tutorial from Good Knit Kisses, and what I love is that she clearly and slowly explains how to cast on. And again, I'm going to say this is such a great project because it doesn't matter how it turns out. And that's true for any of these projects. It really doesn't matter how they turn out. What you want to focus on is learning those fundamentals, because if you saw some of my beginning knitting and crochet projects, let's just say you would not be impressed. So don't worry about what they look like. Look at it as a practice piece. It doesn't matter how they turn out. You're just learning those fundamentals so that you can move on and your next projects will be even better. One of my favorite knitting tutorials for beginners is how to knit a scarf from Wool in the Gang. This video is a little bit older, but it's a fantastic tutorial to help you get started. And if you're brand new to this whole knitting world, Wool in the Gang is a yarn company. They're using their very popular Crazy Sexy Wool yarn, and this yarn is really perfect for beginners because it's very thick, it's chunky, and it helps beginners to be able to see your stitches very easily, and it is super simple to work with. And projects that use thicker yarns are typically going to work up quicker because you're just using thicker materials and they work up quicker. I've included this next video, how to knit easy for beginners, and it won't teach you specifically how to make a project. It's going to teach you the fundamentals of knitting. And the reason why I included this video is that sometimes we can feel overwhelmed by trying to make a project right from the beginning, and you might just want to learn the fundamentals right away rather than having to worry about actually making something. This video is very well done. It's very well explained, and I think that it will be really helpful for anyone who would like to learn how to knit. In addition to all of these amazing projects, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite knitting podcasts that are here on YouTube that are going to be so inspiring. You're going to dive into the world of knitting, and you're going to meet some amazing designers, amazing people who are just in love with knitting, and I think you're really going to enjoy these. The first is the Wool Needles Hands YouTube channel created by Taylor Earl. She's the founder of Fiber for the People hand-dyed yarn. What I love about Taylor is that she is a wealth of information about knitting and especially yarn, and you're going to learn so much from watching her different videos. I love how she explains things. It's very casual. She is just very personable, and you just feel like you're sitting down with a friend to talk about knitting. The next channel is one that I've already mentioned, and we talked about the little knitted dishcloths by Katova Kika, and she has one of my favorite knitting podcasts. I literally do not miss an episode that she puts out. What I love is that she shares the behind the scenes of being a knitwear designer. Kika lives in Finland and she has one of the most enviable yarn stashes I have ever seen in my life. But Kika is such a friendly person and she has impeccable taste. Her color choices, her designs are absolutely beautiful. So once you get the fundamentals of knitting, you're going to want to move on and learn how to knit one of her gorgeous sweater designs. Another one of my favorite knitting podcasts is Natalie from Knitty Natty. On her channel, you're going to find knitting and crochet inspiration. She does yarn shop tours, sit-down chats, and even takes you on her travels. Fiber Tales is another knitting podcast, and it is a feast for the eyes. Larka lives on a small island off the coast of Denmark, and she shares her life in such a beautiful way. This is the kind of channel that's going to leave you feeling inspired and wanting to pick up your knitting needles and make something beautiful with them. Melody Hoffman is the creator of the gorgeous YouTube channel Mandarines. Melody is a gifted French knitwear designer, and she shares her life and her knitting projects in such a beautiful and calming way. When you're watching your videos, you're going to want to just step into her world. And while she doesn't publish a podcast every week, trust me, these videos are worth the wait. I want to leave you with a little encouragement because I know that it can be frustrating as a beginner when you pick up those knitting needles and it feels awkward and you're making mistakes, and it can feel a little overwhelming and you can be too hard on yourself, but I just want to encourage you that we all experience that. Trust me, I have learned so much about myself by learning how to knit. I've learned that I'm not a very patient person and that if I don't get results quickly, I lose a lot of interest, but I have learned over the years to push past those feelings of I quit, I don't want to do this anymore, because knitting is challenging, but I promise you that it is worth the effort. And just know that it takes time to learn those stitches, to learn how to make beautiful projects, but I promise it is worth the effort. I recently finished my most difficult project that I have ever made, and it is a traditional Norwegian kofta. This took me 15 months to make, and there were tears, there was anger, there was frustration. I put the project away for a while, but trust me, that is all part of the learning process. Now, hopefully you're not going to have a learning process like that right away. Obviously not in the beginning, but over time, you're going to learn so much, and you're going to learn so much about yourself through knitting. It's worth those times when you're frustrated, those times when you think this project is ruined. We've all been there before. So don't give up. Get those knitting needles, practice, 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 practice. And one of these days you're going to wake up and think, wow, I'm a knitter. I hope you found this video encouraging today and that you're going to grab some knitting needles and learn how to make things for yourself. And make sure to grab your 1-month free trial to Skillshare. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and happy stitching.